going to be going over how to end all of your struggles with your guitar soloing. And we're actually going to be using one very, very simple exercise in order to do this. But it's not necessarily easy for most people. And anytime I've had someone practice this exercise, they've almost instantly started to solo way, 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 way better and be able to achieve way more freedom in their soloing. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Tell me if this seems like something that has happened to you before. So you might be soloing and you're going along and you're like, oh, I have to stop. Okay, let me figure out what to play now. Oops, okay, now I gotta stop again. All right, let me figure out something else. Another pentatonic scale position, whatever it happens to be. Oops, now I have to stop. So I hear this all the time with people. And this is, to me, more than any of the other things actually that I've discussed on this channel before, is the main thing that is holding people back with their soloing is this constant forced interruption in the middle of a phrase. And it makes it sound like you're making a mistake. It makes it sound like you don't know what you're doing or any of these things, right? It's not fun to have to be stopped like that. It's almost like if you're talking and all of a sudden you just have to stop and you can't think of what words to say, right? That's not fun either, right? It's kind of like the guitar equivalent of this. We are going to play a solo that is going to be a constant chain of notes, okay? It is going to be a non-stop infinity chain of notes that we never allow to stop if we can at all help it, okay? And there's a few caveats that we have to take into account here. First of all, if you're somebody who's already learned all of your pentatonic scale positions, this track that I'm playing over, by the way, is in the E major pentatonic scale / C sharp minor pentatonic scale. And we're going to be using that for the basis of this exercise. So if you know all those pentatonic positions, I want you to do your best to try to navigate through all of those positions while you're doing this exercise. And if you find that to be way too hard, that's okay. You can just use one position at a time. But eventually the idea is we want to be able to keep this constant chain of notes going as long as possible and be able to go all over the guitar neck, okay? That's number one. Number two, you are inevitably going to hit some wrong notes, okay? It's going to happen. Accept it right now, okay? And I will do it on purpose, actually. When you hit those wrong notes, do you think you should stop? Answer, no. Do not stop when you play a wrong note. When you play a wrong note, just try to go to a right note on the next note. And if you play a wrong note on the next note, try to go to a right note on the next note after that. So this will allow us to not only develop the facility and fluidity throughout all of our scale patterns, but it's also going to get us to focus on rhythm and playing absolutely perfect, as best as we can, rhythm no matter what, and developing fearlessness from playing wrong notes. So let's try playing over this track an infinite chain of quarter notes. I'll hit some wrong notes now. Also incorporate some slides and hammer-ons if you can. If you're comfortable with that, you don't have to pick every note. That really helps it sound actually more interesting. So I'm just going, and I never have to stop. I could sit you for an hour doing this, and you're never, ever, ever gonna stop me, okay? So with that being said, again, even if you can play this faster, I find it to be incredibly useful to just play the quarter notes, because you notice how I was trying to get some big wide interval skips in there. You can really, really think about every single thing that you're playing, and you can be absolutely confident that your technique is going to be able to hold up through this, okay? Notice how I was also using all the different positions of the C sharp minor pentatonic scale in this case, okay? And wrong notes, I don't care, okay? You need to get used to being able to hit a wrong note and not screw the rhythm up, because a lot of times that's what happens too. It causes these interruptions is you hit a wrong note and then you're like, oops, and then you stop, and then everybody knows you just made a mistake, and then they're like, what the heck is going on, right? And it just doesn't sound like you're very confident. But now I can be confident through all those wrong notes. So now let's try doing the exact same thing with eighth notes, okay? So now it's gonna be a little bit faster, okay? And I'm gonna, again, try to not pick every note either. You can start that at first, picking every note, but if you're comfortable, sliding counts, and also hammer-ons and pull-offs count. So let's try the same thing with eighth notes. What about wrong notes? It's gonna happen. You're gonna hit wrong notes, guys. That's okay. Keep the rhythm going and never let it stop. Also try to hit the notes cleanly, so don't let this happen. If you can't help it, that's the only other thing you gotta keep in mind. If you're gonna hit a wrong note, hit it cleanly. Okay, so by this point, some of you might start feeling uncomfortable. And if you're feeling uncomfortable with eighth notes, you don't feel 100% comfortable, then you need to stop right now and you need to just practice eighth notes and maybe even go back to quarter notes. So once you've gotten ultra comfortable with doing this exercise with eighth notes, then you can start trying it with 16th notes. So it would be like 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, okay? Try not to repeat notes if you don't have to, okay? You can at first, like if you want to go. That's definitely a cool thing to play. Like that sounds really cool. But the idea is to not like use that as a crutch. We want to be able to just keep this line going and not repeat any notes if we don't have to, okay? So let's try it with 16th notes. And eventually you might get it cut off, and that's fine. Then just try it again. Especially when you're going faster like this. And you try some string skips. Talking while playing is not easy. a couple times where I interrupted it just for a second. So I would like to sit here and get even more comfortable with this. This is something that you can never get too good at. And once you get to those a bit faster subdivisions like 16th notes, you might find that stuff happening. And in a way, that is actually a good thing, because that probably means you went for an idea that is a little bit unfamiliar, a new idea. It means you're probably playing something that you're not totally comfortable with your muscle memory. And sometimes that can be a really good indicator of what to work on. Like if there was a string skip there that I go, oh, I kind of messed that string skip up a little bit. Then I might sit there and I say, you know what? I'm going to do this exercise and I'm going to play a lot more string skips just like that. So I might go back and say, there was a little part, I can't remember exactly what I played, but I think I went, and I kind of messed some stuff up there. So I might lean into that and go, you know, I don't play that many string skips normally, and that's why I kind of messed that up there and I didn't feel totally comfortable. So let me go back there. It's almost like ironing a shirt. That's like a little wrinkle in the shirt. Let me go back and iron that wrinkle out. So let me try a whole bunch of string skips there. Maybe just going back and forth. And you also got to stay relaxed while you're doing this too. It's easy to start letting tension build up. So anyway, again, would I want to play a solo where I'm just playing this ridiculous run-on sentence of notes? No. Okay, so don't even bother commenting, oh, that sounds robotic, or it sounds this, and that. That's not the point, okay? One thing I want you all to remember, too, is that when we want to learn how to play great solos, oftentimes we're not practicing playing a great solo in the practice room. We're practicing the different elements that go into playing a great solo. Not actually sitting there playing a great solo the whole entire time, but practicing the different elements. You might be working on your rhythm and you're doing a rhythm exercise so you can get your rhythm better, so that then when you try to play a great solo, it has better rhythm. Or in this case, we're working on our ability to not get cut off when we're running through a certain subdivision and we're running through all the different notes that are available to us in a solo. So then when I go back and I just play a regular solo and I just stop thinking about anything when I'm playing, that's where we want to be, right? When we're playing great solo, we just want to focus on having fun. We don't want to be thinking about, doing an infinite chain of notes or playing a specific rhythm or any of these different things. We want to just use our ear and feel it and have it be natural. So that's the idea, is that if we get better at this one element, it's going to let us smash through that wall that's forcing us to sound like we're struggling and we're constantly getting cut off. And that way, when I actually play a solo, it's going to flow and I'm going to be much less likely to get cut off. So now just not think about anything and solo over the track and see what happens. I felt a lot better playing that solo. I felt like I wasn't getting cut off. Every time that I stopped playing is because I wanted to stop. I wanted to end the phrase there. And a lot of times, by the way, too, when you do end your phrases, try to end your phrase on a note that's held out. Don't just go and cut off the phrase. That's a thing that I hear from a lot of people too, is just kind of cutting the phrase off at the end. It sounds a lot more pro if you just end on a note and hold it out. It makes it feel deliberate. I'm holding that note out because I want to hold it out. So if you want to learn how to master the guitar fretboard so that you can take this concept and apply it to all keys, all over the whole entire guitar fretboard, not just with the pentatonic scale, with the major scale, all the minor scales, and every single thing that you need to know to be able to play over any progression in any key, then make sure you head on over to Jamsville.com right now and pick up the Jamsville GPS Fretboard Fundamentals course. Also, make sure you head on over to the Jamsville merch store and pick yourself up a Jamsville t-shirt just like this one that I'm wearing right here. We also have coffee mugs, sweaters, hats, all kinds of freaking awesome looking Jamsville swag that I know that you'll love. Also, make sure you listen to my new song. It's called My Divine. That's what you're listening to in the background right now. You can check it out on all major streaming services. Click the link in the description to listen to it on your favorite streaming service. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. And until next time, listen, learn, and jam.